Akorede Adetifa, a distinguished figure in youth-centric organizations, serves as MD, CEO, and Chief Visionary Officer with a focus on fostering youth initiatives. His expertise spans both local and international realms, advocating for the use of innovative technologies like RD2I, mixed reality, and immersive education to boost Africa's knowledge economy. Adetifa's entrepreneurial journey includes founding Ara Rocks Limited, a catalyst for innovation in Nigerian tertiary education, and Discern and Clean Limited, aiming to revolutionize education across Africa. Beyond his professional pursuits, Adetifa is a family-oriented individual with a deep spiritual perspective, blending religious and entrepreneurial insights in his philosophy. He champions a national human resource and capital blueprint to address historical shortcomings in African leadership and emphasizes fulfilling one's divine purpose for societal advancement. He's married to Blessing Adetifa, and they are blessed with 4 children. Let's put our hands together and make welcome Akorede Adetifa.
Put your hands together for yourself. When I was called upon to speak to you, I realized that it was a lifetime opportunity. Lifetime opportunity for me, and a golden opportunity for you. You will take the advantage. I happen to be a spirit-led entrepreneur, meaning that everything that has happened to me, I have done by a friend. We'll come to that later. However, one of the instructions I got was to be very open and to be an open book speaking to you, so that I'm able to, by the words I speak, infuse you with strength and encouragement that will help you in the days to come. Some of the things I'm going to say would affect you right now. Some of the things I'm going to say would coin the experiences and the help that you need right now, and some of which you would come into in the future. Whichever time or scale, when it happens, you would hear my voice and help will come. My name is Akorede Adetifa. A lot of people love to call me Icon because I believe that I am the key and access to a world that is only gotten into by discernment, and you will understand what I mean in a short while. I grew up from a family of 5 children. My sister came first. My mom had a daughter before her, and the daughter died. Then my sister came. Then my mom had a son, and the son died. Then I came. I have 3 other younger ones, but none of us ever witnessed anybody dying again until after me. I was sitting in my room one day, and a picture came to me. And the picture was the fact that there was husband and wife taking a stroll. And as they were taking a stroll, Mama, can I borrow you a few minutes? As they were taking a stroll, the husband was talking to the wife and saying, "Baby, you know, you're so beautiful. You know, I don't know what's going to happen." They were married already, and this was them married. And I'm saying, "Baby, you know, I just don't know how I feel tonight about you." And he was taking her home, and his intention was that that night they were going to make their first baby. That was the picture that came to me. And while he was taking her home, she was all, you know, just flattered, happy that she had married this very handsome man, and the fact that this man just had a way with words. And she was just like, "Baby, I'm ready to have your son." And when they got home, just when they got to work, they took light. And if you know anything about being husband and wife, and the place of making a child, you would love comfort around that area. So when he had started the job of trying to, couple with his wife, they took light. So he begged her and said, babe, the AC will be good for this kind of courtship. I would not want to couple and give birth to a son that is black. So he begged her that he needed to go and switch on the gen. When he got to the gen, he realized that there was no fuel in the gen. And it meant that he needed to come back to baby and tell baby that I need to go and get fuel in. Now, we have to. She says, oh yeah, rush. Then he gets the keg and he runs to the filling station. Gets to the filling station, there's queue. He has to go and beg the manager. By the time he comes back, it's 2 hours later. 2 good hours. And she said, baby, now, what kind of thing is this now? You just got me all worked up. And he said, baby, don't be angry. It took him another 2 hours to start all those oroistic oro that he has been oroing her since to get her to the mood. It's funny, but they finally got to it and they gave birth to a child. Thank you. And they gave birth to a child. But I need to say to you that while the background story sounds very funny, what was happening in the inner circle was something different that you cannot define. You know that while he was walking her home and getting her all interested in making love with him, she was gathering momentum, and all of her inner build was getting ready to receive something. The man was also gathering momentum, and he was also getting ready to release something. All of the hours that passed, there were separations and substitutions and re-emergencies and deaths and pass-aways and re-insurgencies or re-emergencies that happened. In the 6 hours that had passed, so many had passed through. In the release of a sperm, there are 300 million eggs. And they do not live for a long time. Neither do they stay in a reserve point for a long time. They are substituted and they are accumulated and they re-emerge per time. Out of 300 million times, maybe 10 million times, something was being set, something was being put in order, something was being put in stringent alignment to ensure that something showed up. Out of 300 million eggs, only 200 actually make it to the point of being able to penetrate that which she was getting ready to receive. You are not getting me. You are not getting me. After 200, there was a competition of what should actually be born, and only one could make it through. I am trying to say to you, sir, the process that came into play to ensure that you are here. Hey, I'm talking to you about the history of every one of us, that we had a competition of over 300 million individuals that could emerge on the scene. And in that competition of 300 eggs, there was substitution, there was passing away, there were deaths that could not be calculated for, and you finally showed up. It's the complication of your birth that I'm talking about. It is the process that went into you being born that I'm talking about. I'm talking about that which actually was the examination, was the test, were the failures that you went through before you could emerge on earth. I'm saying that you went through the hardest times of your life to emerge even before you were born. It means that on the face of the earth, after you have been born, there is nothing else that will be as hard as you showing up in the first place. Nothing else. If you could win 300 million people, if you could show up on the earth, nothing else, I am saying to you, nothing else can be hard. Nothing else can be more competitive. Nothing else can be more far-reaching than that you showed up in the first place. Don't clap and forget. Don't clap and forget. I would want you to hold every point because I would want you to take it home with you. There will be time to clap. The day you are going to clap is the day when all of this hits you and you come to the very point where it has brought you to and you will clap for yourself. But today is not the day of clapping. The day is the day of taking it in. So you showed up. You showed up, and there is nothing more competitive than the race to have comfort in the first place. And from that day when that thing was explained to me, I realized that I was very busy. I realized that if I won that race, I can win anything else. From that day, I realized that every single thing that had happened to me and every single thing that had bedeviled my life was not as strong as the things that I had gone through and I had come through. By God's grace, I was born into a well-to-do family. However, the well-to-doness was born out of an exemplary life that no child wants to follow. I was born into a family where drugs was the business. I was born into a family where mentorship was not part of the everyday culture. You only saw what you wanted to see and you built life accordingly. My parents sent me to school as they could afford, so I went to St. Jude's primary school, opposite Shubola. Then I went to Laura. And when my father got richer in the marketing of that, I went to Corona in GS2. By the time I was in Corona, I had absorbed so many things from all of the places I went to. God bless you, sir. God bless you. You mentioned two things separately that I'm going to build on. He talked about entrepreneurship being one of the forces of a man's life, and he thought about learning and coming outside of any trouble, and the fact that trouble is for you to learn. From age 4, I had been left with a house girl that trained me till I was 7, and she had taught me to suck her breast and suck on her private part for about 4 hours before my parents came back. I'm not going to hide anything from you. I want you to put off your grave clothing today. She had taught me all sexual immorality at the age of 7. By the time I was 10, I was enraged. I was seeking for anything in skirts. By the time I was 12, the only way I could exercise my sexual urge was to look for video cassettes of pornography and just stay with and watch. By the time I was 14, I had gotten into secondary school and I had joined a clique of guys that came from the US and Canada. By the time I was 19, I had become the student of the year of my school. What a lie. By the time I was 21, I was being looked for all over Lagos because I had duped people. By the time I was 24, I had gotten a space into University of Jos because my cousin that was a cult member duped my parents of almost 4 million naira that he got me admission. Of course, because I was serious in school, I didn't have all my scores. So everybody had to find a way for me to get into school. They were so desperate that my mom's cousin duped my dad of 4 million naira to get me admission. I got the admission all right, only to be arrested by the school and said that my admission letter was fake. Again, I was thrown out. By the time I was 25, I had come back home. I had learned the art of staying in school like I had admission because I did not want to break my mother and my father apart. That her younger brother was the one that duped my father, because my father is a hard knock. My father is gangster. I mean, you know what I mean. My father is gangster. If I went back home to tell my father that his cousin or my mom's younger brother had duped him and I did not get admission, I would have caused my father to probably kill my mother's younger brother and divorce my mother too. So I had to pretend I was in school. I was coming back home from University of Jos with fake results and fake reports about school. As at when I had spent 3 years in school, I needed some money to start business. So I came back home with the most prolific idea in the world. I came home to tell my father that we have been chosen as one of the best 10 students in the political science department. And Martin Luther King was a role model that they wanted to coin our life after, and that we were going to the US for an excursion to the Martin Luther King Center, and that we would all need 5 million naira to go there. My father was happy, told all his friends, everybody that came to the house, gave me 5 million naira, got back to school. I was a big boy, bought a power bike, bought a car, misbehaving. I'm trying to say to you that every stage of my life, I was either being the bad boy or I was being the replica of one that could be great. And it happened in my life quite a number of times. At the time I was 30, I had built one of the finest businesses in the state where I was, just as at the time. Because I had found a friend that spoke to me in the secret place and told me I was better than all of the things that I did. Told me that my life was worth more. I was in my bedroom with a naked girl on the bed and somebody tapped me. I woke the girl up and said, "Is this the time to be playing?" She said, "I didn't tap you." I went back to sleep. Something tapped me again. I said, "What are you doing like this?" She said, so I came down to the floor, slept on the floor, opened one of my eyes. I couldn't see anything, but I felt the tap. I realized she was far away because I was watching. I got up and I heard clearly, "Akorede Adetifa, why were you born?" And that was the switch of my journey. I realized that every time I listened to this other voice, I became the bad boy that everybody, and when I was bad as a mentor. Bad. If you wanted to know what bad was, my mother said if she had known, she would have wasted me with issue of blood. My mother, she loves me dearly. She's so excited about me today. That was how bad I was. But I met this friend, and this friend started talking to me about the real reason why I was born. Started to speak to me about this kind of story I gave to you. Started to show me imageries of how hard it was for them to bring me on earth. And told me how my entire journey was a war ground. How I myself was a place for battle. and that I was not the soldier, I was the earth, I was the battlefield, I was the battleground upon which every single soldier will fight. And there were two opposing battles. There were two opposing armies. The armies that would set artillery about getting me to the place of weakness, and the armies that would set artillery about ensuring that they distracted me from the place of greatness. And that the possibilities and the processes that brought about my birth was exactly the reason why they had come. If I was selected by a process of 300 million and there was a force that ensured I came to the earth, these armies knew I was a good battleground. If they were going to be about dominating the territories by which they wanted to run the spheres of the earth, they would use the best choices that came through that process. And they chose me as a battleground. I did not choose them. So I masturbated my way into happiness. I slept with sister, daughter, mother, and house girl. And in another brief moment, I found myself in business doing very well. Bought my first house when I was 26. Then I found myself back again in the place of duping so many people and they were looking for me. Then I came back again, and before I knew it, this friend told me, you can pioneer the universities into entrepreneurship. Went to universities with a proposal the Holy Spirit had given me 6 years before the time. Converted into a proposal and took to them. In 2015, I led 170 professors, directors of entrepreneurship, and vice chancellors to the US. I was at the main ball of destiny. I spoke and I watched professors cry. And I found that my life was an exemplary point where people would come to and look at bad and look at good. In this balance, I realized that I was not the soldier. I was the battlefield. It was upon my life. All of this military effort was born. I realized that masturbation and all of the vices were the military power that were set to distract me. Lying, cheating people. They were the military power that were set to win me to the other side. Ingenuity, ideas to rule the world, understanding, wisdom were the military artillery set to bring me to greatness. And every time I followed these guys, I came into a major plane of being the superior height of what was to be. Every time I followed this military and I tilted towards them, they made me greatness. And I became greatness 3 times in my life. I became failure 5 times in my life. All with one life. Today I get to say something to you. That all you need to do is to tilt. Tilt. Don't go shayabamba. Don't be bold at it. Tilt. Because the boldness you need is in tilting to the right angle. Everything that needs to be set in your life to bring you to that place will be set as artillery upon the face of the earth that you are. Today, I leave you with one thing. My name is Akorede Adetifa, and I resume for duty. I resume for duty with the army that I have tested and I have trusted. The army that sets me onto greatness. The army that sets me into the original intent why I was born. And the army that brings me through. I introduce to you the apothecary. And I will tell you about it during the question and answer time. Thank you.
Okay, so before the Q&A, we have some of our mummies.
I'm going to do questions online, and then we'll take the question here. Sure. So,
Okay, can you just help us read on the question? Okay. So 1 second. Fair enough. Okay, let's quickly take a question here. Like, we have two brilliant questions online, but I said I wanted you to be back. Can okay. There's a gentleman that's been raising his hand all the way at the back. Okay, do you want to come forward? Okay, but so that he can hear you.
The question is based on the concept or the dynamics of theory, the last examination that between what the entire Ganga. The concept of theory, wouldn't it be seen like you are indisciplined or you are not courageous enough to provide solution to a confronting problem? So I want to ask, in your own way, what are the structures or what are the systems you put in place over the years to follow through with skill sets so that instead of being too forward or too courageous?
So over time, like I said, I followed the voice of worse and bad, and over time I followed the voice of greatness, and over time I discovered that there were two forces warring in my life, right? And over time I realized the end result of following the bad and the worst. Over time I realized the good results of following greatness. So I created a structure around my life by mentorship, by mentors, by friends who shared those kinds of orientation that allowed me to be able to see the things that come into my mind and ensure that I choose part-time, that I walk and I tilt towards the soldiers that were sent to my life for greatness. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The structures within your life must be friendship, must be custodians of the sort of principles that you want to follow, which will be mentors to you. And of course, you put structures of friendship and communities of friendship around you that allows you to always see everything that you can't stop. There's no one on the face of the earth that can say they do not get whispers of going the wrong way. Everybody gets that whisper. And you just need to form structures that allow you to choose per time. And it's important for you to do so by communities, by friends, and by mentors. And of course, you are the major controller and the major driver of your life. And you must be able to allow the buck stop. When you realize all of those structures are not giving you what you want, you need to go into the place of meditation and be able to weigh and see by experience and by discernment which is the way to go. And you would always find your way. Yes, sir.
I want to say, you made reference to the fact that the background you had were not really, suiting or to follow.
Yes.
And okay, what do you do when you have an environment where you can't look forward or look backward or anyway to someone you would look up to? What do you do at that instance that you are the only person and God is the only person you could easily look up to provide solution to that present challenge? That's the kind of situation I find myself anyways. So the thing is, sometimes many look up to me. I try to go as far as communicating with people as much as I can to get to know what's going on with them. But in quotes, although I'm struggling to leave that phase of which I'm getting anyways. But in quote, I do not really I do not see anyone around that I could easily fall back to, oh, this is what I'm going through, this is the challenge so far. And so how do you get out of that phase of
Okay, some of the things you're asking for will take me doing this with you over and over again, or you having, but I will explain to you how. Every man has the ability to render his environment. Listen to me. Every man has the ability to render his environment, either through books, right, through meditations, right, or through religion. I don't want to use that word, but so books that take you into realities of other men. So you can't tell me that in your area there's no bookshop. or there's nowhere to buy a book. And immediately you start, because there are ear gates, there are eye gates, there are gates in your life, and it's that gate that allows for pictures. God created us with an absorbent mind. Don't mind me, I sound like a professional. My wife is the child professional. That's where I got absorbent mind from. I was just saying that to say my wife is an education expert for kids. But the mind of the child, or the mind of the man, is an absorbent mind. It's the things that you see, that you hear, and that are real to you, that really forge you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And it's not only the things that are in front of you in reality that can be your reality. You can create a reality. It's the reason why a man can go into malady. You see, madness is madness when you are truly mad. Do you get? A madman is actually a reality. And it only shows the extra ability for a man to render before himself a reality that is not before him. It is a disadvantage when it takes over your being. However, it is an advantage when you are in your own kind of situation. When you need to render a reality that is away from the reality that is posting on you and wearing a sort of garment on you that you don't want. You must now create a reality for yourself by books, by meditation, and I use the Bible. I use the Holy Spirit. You will see some of the pictures I painted here where reality is given to me by the Holy Spirit. I can tell you things he said to me to get out of fornication. For instance, I used to sleep with many girls. And he said to me, do you know that the power and intelligence that you use to date 5 girls without all of them knowing is the same intelligence you need to create 5 multi-billion businesses without all of them crashing? That changed my life forever. He created a rendering before me that made my thoughts change. When I was in masturbation, he said to me, what's the use of masturbation? He said, you are wasting away something that can grow to become something huge. I said, how? He said, when you give birth to a child, you tend the child, you send the child to school, the child is able to become a man, the child gets married, the child becomes something great. He said, but when you masturbate, you are wasting the seed. May you not find on the day that you are about and ready to tend to a child that all the seed has been wasted. I stopped masturbation. So you see how it happens. He renders before you. He renders before you. He creates a reality that is different from the reality that you are used to, that has been pasted on you, and you can live with that reality. Until you come to the place where people can actually mentor you in that area. Do you understand me? Well done. I hope I answered your question. Well done. Yes, I want to answer some of the students, please. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. So my question is that how do you advise students that way at your age, the way you do all this kind of thing? As now you see them, how can you advise them if they are still doing those kind of things? Because they know what you have done. How can you advise them to believe and they can change their life?
All right, the only way I do that is to, and the only strength you have is by me sharing my weaknesses. And you see me and say, if this man could conquer it, then I have in my power to conquer it also. You see, let me tell you, have you noticed, somebody should tell me, have you noticed that once you find a car that you like, you start to see the car every day? Have you noticed? Have you noticed that in your school, once you say, that baby fine, you will start to see her in every corner? Have you noticed? No, I'm just asking, have you noticed? Once you tell yourself as a man, once you tell yourself this thing, once you find an example of conquering and victory, and you focus on it and say, Mr. Akorede said he was a masturbator and he was able to come out of it. Mr. Akorede said he was a womanizer, he was a chronic sexual addict, he was a pedophile and he was able to come out of it. Once you bring it before you and it's real to you, all of the concepts on the earth to bring about your deliverance will come to you. It's the same thing. You know when you were an egg, and that's why I told that story. You know when you were an egg, you didn't know yourself. Did you know you fought that battle? What came to your help? What came to your aid? Against 300 million eggs, how did you run so fast? Against 200 million that got to the ovaries, how did you make it through? Do you know? Once you concentrate everything that was an asset to bringing you to the place of greatness will help. Everything will show up. If it's mentorship, it will show up. If it's help, it will show up. You just need to first of all determine. It is by man that everything on the earth gains its value. Man is stronger than what you think. You have powers that are beyond being able to use your hands and use your head and use your legs. Once your heart and your mind is made up, it starts to form. The earth was made for you, not you made for the earth. The earth resonates in accordance of the greatness within you, and you must understand that the rigors you came through, right? That you came through is not as hard as this difficulties you are facing now, and you will conquer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aikon. Round of applause once again. Apologies, guys, I apologize. I know I see more hands. You know, and when it switches to biology, I see the excitement. You know, I don't know how many scientists, but I can see it's quite relatable. But our time is fast spent. If you still have questions, please note them down. And possibly, if you want the particular speaker to respond, we have the ushers going around. We'll take those questions. We still have some more questions online as well. The questions are coming in, and we'll try and answer as much as possible. Do we have media queued for? So we're going to bring someone in that's going to do a bit of poetry, and I believe this will resonate with us. Do we have okay, it's going to be queued so that we can. So I have the names of those that will participate in the mini competition. I'll call the names out later, maybe in the course of what we're doing. No, we have some champions in the house that have selected. I know Christian has, is it ready? Christian has Thomas David, Laminia Dumalika. You guys in the house, can you just wave? Just wave, let me see. It's just you, what's the second person? Okay. Is it cute now? Okay, please go ahead.